What's going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 3 of the Daily Dribble. This episode's
All
name
right,
is
Cole.
Spill.
That's enough. I'm going to cut you off there. This is a spill. This is a Blake Burnett takeover. I'm controlling this episode. So typically, Cole and I have talking points, and he said I could have it for this episode, said be prepared. I'm not prepared. We're going off script with Blake. So let's get right into the first topic. This is another episode. If you tuned in before, great. If you haven't, I'm Blake. He's Cole. Let's get right into the first Blake topic of the day. What music do you listen to at the gym?
Oh my God, we had this conversation a long time ago, and I got clowned for it.
Yep.
Right now, I have like a workout playlist, so it's like NBA YoungBoy, Lil Baby, Lil Durk, but I do mix in a little bit of country just because I like country. But
That's where we had a little bit of like an outgoing.
Yeah.
Was you said I listen to country music. What, like, are we talking shit boozy, or what do you listen to?
No. So like when we had that conversation, and for everybody listening, and there's a couple people who know exactly what we're talking about because we had a huge argument over this when we were in college. But the country music that I listen to, it's not like, it doesn't get me like pumped up. It's just because I like that kind of music and I listen to it all the time. So like it gives me a good vibe, gets me in a good solid mood, gets me a good feel, and I can just go through my workout. But like,
basically what Cole is saying, and this was the exact same thing I told him in the dorm room 4 years ago, is he wants an easy, soft workout. He's lifting weights. He's pumping iron. If you think Tim McGraw, I hope you think my favorite. That's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to get you anywhere. You want to bench 335. You're listening to hardcore rock. Speaking of 335, just wanted to let the viewers know that's my max. There's video proof. So if you want to be great, listen to rap music, listen to hardcore music. Sometimes when I get to the gym, I listen to Tim Platt's Never Give Up. You know why? Because it's a monologue of him talking for 5 minutes about not wanting to leave the gym with any energy left because he doesn't want to feel like a loser. But sure.
Yeah, I'm about to start listening to the Daily Dribble and the Dog Pod.
The Dog Pod.
That'll get me going. That'll get me going. The Dog Pod will get me going.
Let me tell you, Cole, we gotta get your workouts right, man. We gotta get you on. Like, Young Boy's fine, whatever, but we gotta get some hardcore rock. You need a break. You need to get heartbroken.
But I'm not heartbroken. That's the thing.
We gotta find a way.
I mean, I don't know how you're gonna do that.
We gotta create some diversion in your life.
Here, I'll tell you how you can get me heartbroken. Okay, I'll tell you how you can get me going crazy. If you leave Pittsburgh and come back, get in the gym together, and you're gonna get me there. You're gonna get me right.
You know, I was thinking about that. Like, I've moved to Pittsburgh. It's been good for my career, but outside of work, I'm like, dang, I miss being able to hang out with the boys, seeing my family. So, like, it's good for the career move, and it's fun.
Yeah.
But, like, the other hours where you're not working, I'm like, crap, kind of wish I was back home. So, you know,
but it's a good life thing to go through, though, because you get to kind of move away, go see other things. It's a city that you like because, you know, obviously you're a sports fan of them. I mean, I know you're only
not at all.
Well, I know you're only a Steelers fan, but you're gonna get there. But
well, actually,
so it's good for you to kind of move away.
I'm a Penguins fan now. I'm integrated. I'm about to be a Pirates fan.
That's what I'm saying. You're getting into that stuff, so you're kind of building that. You're kind of building that rapport of getting used to the whole new city thing. Like, for me, it's the same thing. Like, I'm from South Carolina. I'm nowhere near home, like, at all. Now, it was good because when I went down to when I was up at school, like, I was still, you know, pretty far away from home. So, like, I got used to it. But it's definitely different, especially, like, moving straight here after college. I didn't go back home. It was definitely different. It was a culture shock of, like, I'm not with my family. I'm with people I don't know. Like, obviously, I knew her family. But now I'm getting, you know, used to people up here at Penske. I don't know anybody around here. I don't know the area. So it was kind of cool. And now, you know, I like being here. I like the people that I've met, you know, stuff like that. So I'm gonna keep continually, you know, meeting new people and hanging out with them. But so it's a good thing for you to go through. I do wish you were back here as well, but you know, it takes time. That's just for our friendship. So
it takes time for anyone listening. Basically, I made the move for a career move. Also, just to kind of get a whole new experience. And if you have done that or are maybe thinking about doing that, I would just be prepared for a lot of alone time at first. You're going to have to integrate into your workplace, new environment. So I've been in Pittsburgh about 7 months. I mean, I have a couple people that I know from past internships that I had in college that live out here. I see them every once in a while, but there is a lot of alone time. There's beauty in being alone. You find out a lot. They say you can't truly be happy until you're happy alone. So I found that over the last 7 months. And then you slowly start integrating into a social life. So I'm about to be in a wood baseball bat league, so that should be fun. I'm pretty excited. We're about to potentially go to the
Are
cage
you
this
using
weekend.
your own wood bat, or do they give you like
It's
older
going to be
ones?
our own wood bat.
Okay.
Who knows? Maybe I'll go crazy.
You still have yours?
The old hickory? No.
So you just have to buy it.
I'm just
You
going to
gonna buy
buy
a cheap one?
like a cheap Louisville Slugger ash bat. We're going to do some damage.
Is it like actual baseball?
Yeah.
Or is it like soap? Oh, okay.
It's like a men's baseball league. Apparently, some of the guys that throw in the league just to stay warm, like before college. Over the summer, some of them used to pitch. I guess last year there were a couple of guys in the league that played minor league ball that just get there to get some innings. But for the most part, I mean, you're not going to see anything too crazy.
No, yeah.
So I'm excited for that, but it'll give me something to do, something to look forward to.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I think trying to grow my career in Pittsburgh, if something opened back home, I won't really get into the details of everything that would need to happen for me to want to go back, but at least work related. But I don't know. I could see myself kind of making the transition back, kind of learning. But ideally, I'd love to move down south or out west where it's warm because these winters suck. They're freezing.
They're not fun. Yeah, they're not fun. I was just say I got into work at 5:30 this morning, and it started snowing, and all of a sudden I'm walking around the lot, and bam, it just starts coming out, and I'm freezing. It is bad, and then all of a sudden you wait a couple hours, and it gets even worse, and it's like randomly it's just sunny one day, and then all of a sudden the next day it's completely snowing, and it's 20 degrees, and it's like, I'm kind of glad I don't play anymore because that was awful timing, standing out in the cold for 2 games, and you're just standing there, and it's especially being a PO. Especially being a PO, it was awful because like you'd only come in once every whatever game. For you, it might have been a little bit better just because you played every day, but like in the whole game.
So I am a firm believer of you succeed in environments you prepare for. So in high school, I was not a good cold weather player. I never was. So whenever I got to college, obviously first year was COVID year, but every year after that, even in high school a little bit, I realized, okay, I don't perform well in the cold. My hands got cold. So we had a gym in our basement at my childhood home, and we also had a barn. So in the winter, I would move all the gym equipment, everything I needed, outside to the barn, which had no insulation, no heating, no AC. So in winter, it was freezing out there, and I would go work out in shorts, sometimes no shirt, or really like one of those cutoffs. And every time I would go out and lift, my mom would say, "What the hell are you doing?" And I said, "I'm preparing." I'm preparing. I'm preparing to get cold. So even in college, when I would come back, be at home for winter break, I would lift in that barn. But it did prepare me because once we did start playing in the cold, it didn't bother me as much. I'd been there, I'd done that. So you got to win the mental warfare,
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't.
Speaking of performing in the cold, KCU baseball, which I'm repping today, is 5-1. They're 5-1.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
You can say what you want about the schedule, especially the early schedule. I know how KCU likes to do it, but at the end of the day, you play the game, you win the game, and they're about to be in conference play this weekend. I want to say it's Milligan.
They're at Milligan.
Yeah, so they're at Milligan. I think they got a midweek game tomorrow, Brescia, that they're going to get into, but hats off to them. Jan's hitting like crazy. Chris, I didn't meet him. I know you played with him. He's hitting like crazy. Yeah. Got to shout out my boy J-Leg.
It was his birthday yesterday, man.
Yeah, no, 2 days ago.
Oh, 2 days
Or
ago.
was it
Sorry.
yesterday?
Yeah.
Well, it could
I
be
don't know.
longer.
I don't know. Happy late birthday, J Leg.
Yeah, so I mean, they're balling out. They're doing everything they
Mm-hmm.
need to do. I know our senior year, my senior year, your junior year was really successful, and it
Yeah.
kind of had a similar start to what they're doing. It was
Mm-hmm.
5-1, a lot of offense. We started 13-0. That was a fun
Yeah.
year. So we'll
Yeah.
see
Really
if they
fun
have
year.
a
Yeah.
chance to outdo the best season of KCU baseball, which was my senior year, just in all the
Yeah.
metrics. So we'll see if they keep the momentum up. I mean, conference is really tough. So
Yeah.
Milligan is a good
It's a
test.
top conference in the NAI. It is very, very, it's not just because it's difficult. It's just because everything traveling so far. And this is their last year in that conference. For
Yeah.
everybody listening, they are moving to the River States Conference in 2026. So this is the last year in the AAC.
Yeah.
Very
So
difficult conference, but it's great competition, and you get to play the best in and out every single weekend, which is what you want to do.
yeah, that
It's like being
conference is
it's like being in the
basically
D1 and playing the SEC. So
yeah.
it's pretty good.
That's what I was gonna say. And just for travel times, KCU, the average travel time is about 6 hours for each away conference.
Yeah, yeah,
And the new conference we're going to will be 2 hour trips. So it'll be a lot better. I would have enjoyed that if that
yeah.
was the case.
Honestly,
Um,
I think the furthest trip for them next year is only like 4.5 hours.
yeah, so it'll be good for travel, but I
But
mean,
the difference is, and the main big difference though, is their conference they're in right now is more Southern Conference. So it's
yeah,
more of Southern states. So you are going to warmer weather. Now the difference in this new conference is Kentucky is the furthest south you go. Everything's Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky. So it's like, you know, it's kind of we're going to see kind of how it works, and there might be more games that get canceled due to weather. There might be more of neutral site games where you have to travel down south to play teams. Like, I'm not sure how that's going to work. Obviously, they're working through the schedule, with the ADs and coaches and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like you said, shout out to them. They're doing great. Coach Stowers got them rolling over there. They got a really good young group. I know you weren't able to go to the alumni game back in October, but it was pretty fun. They have a lot of good guys there that are really young, a lot of transfers that came in and they look pretty good to me. I didn't see everybody just because it's an alumni game. You're not going to throw your best arm out there usually, especially when they did have some weekend scrimmages. So I've been paying attention. They it's some really good young guys throwing right now, and they got a couple good transfers that are hitting the ball really well. Got a kid named Daniel. I think it's either Hernandez or Fernandez. I can't remember, but he won National Player of the Week in the NCCAA. So shout out to him. But yeah, Stowers got him rolling over there. One of our former teammates, Baby Cole, Mr. Cole Thomason. Shout out to him, GA over there this year. So keep the work up, and hopefully we can get out and watch you guys soon.
yeah. And for any of you guys watching, if you're there this October, you're not going to see me struggle in the alumni game. I'll have about 40 games under my belt of baseball. I'll continue to hit the cages, and you guys are in trouble because Prime
Hey,
Blake's
hey,
coming back.
I went 2 for 4 last year with the
It
double,
always it
and
always blows my mind in those games that the guys who never hit in college always do well. And then you get the guys
it
that did hit in college
yeah
and hit well. Like I'm 0 for 8 with 8 Ks in that game, in those games. It's awful. I don't even touch the
yeah
ball.
I went 2 for 4 with a double and double down the line and bases not bases clearing 2-run RBI single to the backside, and I mean I wasn't a hitter, so it's like you just kind of get up there and you just swing the bat. Now I got kind of lucky. I faced one kid who didn't throw it very hard, but he had good stuff. I just got lucky. I hit it down the line and it went past the third baseman. I just took
Yeah,
off running.
that kid
And
got
then
cut.
the second one, kid threw pretty hard, but he threw me 3 straight fastballs. And if you're a baseball guy and you pay attention enough, like why don't you throw me the third one? Like I can time it up enough to where I can put it in play. So I got lucky on it, but nah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be swinging a ton and seeing more pitches, and then
Oh yeah, they're screwed.
come in there and
I always
hit you a
thought
tank.
me and Noah Waltz always talked about it. And it's cool and all to like come back, have the alumni game. I like that it's actual baseball, not softball. I think it would
Yeah.
do a lot better if it was softball. It's cool to actually play baseball. But him and I
Mhm.
were talking. It's like, let's just play an alumni basketball game. Like, let's go and have
Yeah.
give me their best 5 hoopers. We'll get our best 5. Have some bench. Let's go hoop. Let's make some things happen.
But
Let's see what happens down low.
let's rent the gym out though and have some fans and actually make it like a for real game, clock
Yeah,
and
make it a
everything.
charity event.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hit up
This
some of the
year, I
businesses
told
in
Noah,
Grayson.
I said if we wind up doing the alumni game this year, you know how usually on Saturday we just play the baseball game, everyone goes home. I said
Yeah.
let's find a way to make it to where like Saturday night, we just go hoop, do something like that. That
That's
way
fine with
it's
me.
a little more enjoyable. I didn't get to make it last year just due to starting the new job here and time frame.
Yeah.
It got pushed back. That's no
No,
offense.
it
That's
was
how
fun.
Stowers
It was
rolls.
super. I like it. I think it's great. It was my second one, and I think it was pretty cool, and just the way that he sets it up. I hope we can get some more people out, but it's hard when everybody's got a life and people live in all sorts all over the country and stuff like that. So
Speaking of things that are hard, I want to give a shout out to my co-host Cole Riley. He has consistently been going to the gym. Now, I don't know why he's tagging me in his Snapchat posts and putting it on his story. I don't understand it because I'm proud of him, but I've already gone. He's trying to like
it has
call me
nothing
out.
to.
You're trying to call me
No,
out.
it ain't. No, it ain't calling you out. It's to show you I'm there. Show you
Hey,
like
I'm proud of you. That's good.
we're on this journey together.
Yeah. Different journey, different time zones. Cole's getting it in after work. I've been doing something we'll see how long I commit to it, but this week I've been going to bed by 9:30. We're like an hour from my bedtime right now. I'm kind of sleepy.
Me
But
too. As soon as we get off here, I'm jumping in the shower and going
take
to bed.
take my melatonin, scroll on TikTok.
Yeah.
But I've been getting up at 4 a.m., getting to the gym by 5, getting to work, having a decent work day, a lot more work-life balance coming home. It's been pretty good through 3 days. Now, it is kind of weird because I feel like my time zone's off. I don't even know what day it is. Like today, I was like, oh, it's Tuesday, but it was actually Wednesday. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a lot going on. But me and Cole are putting in work. I'm proud of him. He's getting to the gym. Is Emma going with you?
No, because she works later, so she's trying to get up in the morning. So when I get up for work at 4:30, like we're gonna start getting her up. So she actually mentioned it. She actually texted me today and was like, "Should I go to the gym?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I actually feel way better like going back because we used to go all the time."
Yeah.
And then with work, with getting a dog, with getting a house, like there's other stuff, and then we just kind of got back out of that routine. And then now, I told her today, I was like, actually feel good that I made myself go because like it used to be where like when I was playing, like I had to go every day. Like if I didn't go, I was like pissed off at myself.
We also had
And
a
so
lot more
now,
free time. I mean,
I
I
mean,
miss those days.
yeah,
You would get up. We were lifting in the morning, team lifts, and then
yeah.
you go to class, you go to practice. During the season it was a little different because we were all getting tired, but during the fall and when we weren't extremely busy, night lifts, everyone was lifting. You had no responsibilities outside of lifting for your sport, and then you graduate. And I feel like most athletes can relate to this, but you get a job and then it's like, why would I lift? There's no
I mean, it just
athletic
kind of depends on
performance,
what type of job you get too, though, because a lot of people's jobs they get kind of demand more. So, like for you specifically, like you're in a salary position now, so you may have to work a longer day than I do. I'm in an hourly position, so it's like I know I'm going into work from 5:30 to 2, but for you, it could be like, hey, we need you to come in at 6:30, and you don't leave till 6. Like some
Yeah.
days that happens, so then you're really tired, and it's like, you know what I mean. So,
Yeah,
but
but
like that's what I'm
even on
saying.
those
Like,
days, like I kind of let myself. It's like, yeah, you're tired, but everybody's tired. There's a
well,
quote.
and
There's a quote, Cole, and I read it on the back of my phone every day. Your maximum is someone's minimum. Someone's getting that work in and not making the
mhm,
excuse. And that's why I told you. I was like,
yeah.
you got to keep working. It don't matter. And I got to tell myself the same thing because some days I'm tired,
Well,
but you got to keep going.
and I'll tell you this, and I appreciate you always harping on me and staying on me about it, just because I do like the gym. I do like everything that comes with it.
You
Like,
got to
it's
get
not
out of
just about.
Planet though. You got to stop going to Planet.
I know, but it's so much cheaper than everything else. I
I
don't
know.
want to pay 40, 50
I'm not
bucks a month
dogging
when
Planet Fitness. I'm not dogging it. If you go there, cool. But I'm
No,
just
I know what you
saying,
mean.
yeah,
I know, no, I for sure know what you mean. And one thing I was thinking about today, so like, I'm a high school coach now. So like,
yeah,
when I
Cole's
go
a
over there and I
coach.
watch, yeah, I know. When I go over there and I watch, like, I go to workouts. Like today, had workouts after school, so I went and watched. Not watch, but like be there. Like, it was actually cool to be back in that environment because like they did a bunch of maxes today. So they did deadlift max and bench max, and everybody's getting excited for each other, like hyping each other up. And like I missed that. I thought it was cool. So like I'm getting in the middle of it, like I'm ready to go. Like, but I'm also paying attention. I'm making sure they're not hurting themselves, making sure they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. Being a coach. Not being
Yeah,
a player anymore. But I still have that mindset. I'm only 2 years out of school, so it's not like I'm 10 years out. Like I just stopped playing a couple years ago, and it might seem a little further away, but it's really not. It's like I'm still in that mindset of like I want to be that athlete. So that's why I got in the middle of it. And I'm like, hey, this is how you build a culture. So it was kind of cool getting in that. So I take that, and now in my
yeah.
mind, I'm like, all right,
That's
well, let
like
me
the
get back
key.
into my groove.
That's the key thing. You talked about building a culture. I think we did that my senior year. A lot of people hated me for it. You have to create this like you have to be motivated. So like I'm a motivated individual. I have a lot of quotes that I throw out there. Some of them are quote unquote bullshit. Um,
It's
but
fair.
it's I have to create something within myself where it's like, yeah, let's do it, let's rock. So I remember senior year, it might have been our first 5 a.m. morning practice. We were coming in, a lot of the JUCO guys were gone from the year before. It was like a brand new team. This was our kind of fresh slate, had a lot of experienced guys. And I was like, we need to do something that sets the tone. It was pouring rain,
Mm-hmm.
it was freezing. Nobody wanted to be there. I didn't even want to be there. And I remember we finished, and Sowers was like, all right, we're done for the day. And I chirped up. I said, no, we're not. I said, we got 2 more. And Stowers, do you remember that morning?
It was
Maybe
a long time ago,
you
so
might
no.
not have been with. Maybe the pitchers didn't have to do it.
Well, sometimes I'll say sometimes no. Sometimes we change because sometimes
Yeah.
we
So
did
I
one
don't
group
know
was
if you
outside,
were.
one group was inside.
Yeah, I don't think you were in that outside group, but we were done. And I was like, nah, we got 2 more. I said, we're gonna keep going. Everyone looked at me and they're like, dude, shut up. I'm like, nah. I said, Stowers, 2 more. And I
Yeah,
said, these guys don't want to do it. I said, make it 4. And it was
yeah.
400-yard sprints. And he was like,
Oh
all
yeah,
right.
yeah.
He's like, that's what you want? Is that what you want, Mike? I said, yeah,
Well, I
let's
mean,
do it. And it worked
you
because
had
it built this
yeah,
culture of, hey, he's willing to do it. He's
yeah,
he's busting his ass.
yeah.
Sorry for cussing, but
No, you're fine.
he's busting, and I'm gonna give that same thing. And you saw that entire year, everyone busted their butts to be great,
Well,
and that's the culture you got to build at. I don't
yeah,
remember the high school you're
I'll
at,
tell
but
you a thing too, and you probably remember it. But like, okay, so well, the fall was different than what the winter season was. So like the fall, we were all doing everything together. We were doing it, obviously like the normal. And I remember when we got back before the season, we get there 3, 4 weeks early before, 2 weeks early before school starts. So we're doing everything by ourselves. Like we're the only people at school, well, other than softball. And like I think basketball is still there. But I remember like, and it's different being a PO compared to a position player because position player, you have to work on hitting, fielding, all this other stuff. You go over all these mindsets, your scouting reports, everything. Being a PO, I'm not saying all you do is throw, but that's your job. Your job is to pitch. So it's not like I can throw a bullpen every day. It's not like I can go throw 100% every day. We can work on other stuff, but I remember like you guys would have multiple practices a day, and we would have one, and like you and Cody and Garrett would get like so mad at us and Stowers of like, why are you guys tired? You guys aren't doing much, and like I would chirp up for the pitchers because I'm like, guys, you don't know what we go through. Like I can't throw 100% every day, or my arm's gonna be like crashed, and you would get mad at me, and like I started thinking back on that, and like me and you were best friends, but having those arguments was like it was kind of making us better at the same sense because we were trying to get on each other to like do more because we were like
yeah,
we're not having a season like what happened the last year. We're not winning 11 games and getting embarrassed by everybody and having people laugh at us. Like we're not doing that. Like, we're going to go out here and we're going to prove, like, hey, we have guys who can play, and we want to prove that KCU baseball is here. And we did that. We might not have had the exact record that we wanted or finish at the end of the year where we wanted, but, like, I started thinking about that, and I'm like, that's exactly, like, what built that. And then going into the season, like, and all of a sudden we won 13 straight games. Then we lost our first one. We were all super mad because we're like, guys, we shouldn't have lost that team. Like, we're way better than that. And so, like, it kept fueling us and fueling us and fueling us. And then
that was the loss to Brescia, right?
No. It was our first loss was against Mid Atlantic at home. We played a series against them, and we went 1-2 against them, and we finished.
No, but that was after our first loss was Brescia.
Was it?
We were 11 or 13-0, and we dropped one of the 4 games against Brescia.
You're right. It was we were 13-0. We were 13-1, and we went to Truett McConnell and played them.
And
that's
obviously
what it was.
Conference was a little different, and then we won 2 games, lost, and then that Mid-Atlantic series when they came in, new program. I remember I had a good weekend. Like, I had a really good weekend of hitting, but as a team we lost, so like it was cool for me. I was like, oh, I'm doing well, but I just remember coming in the dugout one of the games, looking at everyone, and we had this accountability, and I was like, are you kidding me? I said, these guys are not even good. They're not even on our like same airspace. And so we're losing, but we needed stuff like that. We needed that adversity because it helped us throughout the year. But and I wanted to quote why we got mad at pitchers. It wasn't necessarily mad at pitchers, like you guys weren't doing enough work. As a position player at KCU, it was a 5 a.m. lift. Then we had a team practice in the morning. We had individual practice, and then Stowers was making us go hit at night. So we were just exhausted. That was every day, day in, day out.
And I feel that
it worked.
Yeah,
but we were a little tight.
I mean, I feel that, and I do wish that there was more for us to do. But like as a
there's
pitching
only so
staff,
much you
like
can do that as a pitcher.
Exactly, like I said, your main job is to pitch, that those strikes get outs. So it's not like if I could throw every day like that, I would. But like that's why I had arm issues because I couldn't throw every day, so I'd have to take the breaks, and that's why like I missed part of your senior year because like I was having issues with my arm, and I hated that, but like at the same time, like I had to do what was best for me, and same for the other pitchers, especially the guys who threw a ton. We had to make sure that we were ready for you guys because it didn't matter how good of an offense we had. If us as pitchers were giving up 10, 12 runs a game, it doesn't matter. We're not going to win very many games. So that's why, at some points, like we would tell Stowers too, like, hey, like, we can't throw today. Like we need to take a day off. And,
and
that's just kind of.
That's something I kind of saw throughout the season at KCU. Like you get through the grind and you see it a lot in sports, burnout. So the tough thing about being great and having a great mentality is eventually you do get tired. You do get burnout. You got to push through it. But what I noticed towards the end of that year at KCU, and I even told Stowers, and it got us a few days off late in the year and even some time off before the playoffs. But I was telling them, like, look, some guys are just gassed. It's something, the ball's not coming off the bat the same. The velo's not there. So we just need some time before the playoffs. Give us a few days. And I think he gave us like 1 or 2 days off to just reset before that playoff run. So with you kind of tying this back into you talking about your coaching, you understand what it takes to take a program from being a joke. We were a joke. But we take it from being a joke to being something that's respectable. And then since our senior year, KCU's had some competitive baseball seasons and looks like they're about to have another one. So I'm tuning in. If a game gets close, I know next year when they go to that new conference, there's a school close to here that's out of Pennsylvania. I don't remember what school it is, but it's pretty close to Pittsburgh. So I'll definitely try to get to a series.
So,
but I mean, kind of switch.
I mean, I just
go ahead.
No, I'll say the last thing with all that too is so kind of rolling back on the whole thing that you did. So like the way that we took it my senior year and I'll kind of roll back a little bit. We had like team captains. Didn't really call them team captains, but it was kind of cool to have those guys because like I would say people respected us. They wanted us in that role because they knew like, all right, these guys do the right things. they're going to speak up for everything like that. And so going into my senior year, like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, we got to do something to end the fall. That's like going to prove to ourselves that we're competitive, that we can go out there and win. And so, how like you got these Division I programs, especially like Ole Miss is who I got it from. They do the Omaha Challenge. They have a whole week of just straight competitive challenges. So I'm like, all right. So I pitched it to our captains. It was 5 of us, and I was like, let's do a Lewiston challenge. Lewiston, Idaho is where the NAIA World Series is, if you guys didn't know that. So, I'm like, let's do a Lewiston challenge. So all week, me and the captains, we're sitting up there. We drafted teams. We came up with ideas of what we want to do, and we did that. And I filmed it all as much as I could. Some things didn't go our well just because, some of the resources we have, we couldn't do as much with it because it's not like we could rent out an area for a certain time and all this kind of stuff. But it was really cool. And honestly, some of the kids that you would think wouldn't do very well, like as competitive as you think, did really, really well. And so it kind of took us from at the end of the fall, all right, this is what we're taking, and then straight into the off season and the winter, going home, everybody dispersed to their own, like where they're from, for break. And then once we got back in January, it was like, all right, it's go time. Like we're ready to go, we're ready to play. That season wasn't the best season in terms of wins and loss record, but it was a fun season because we had a ton of fun as a team together. Like we respected each other. And then going to playoffs, we had our best playoff run. We were 12 outs away from making the World Series. And so, it was really cool to see all that. But then for it to end, it's like, man, I hope what I did was good enough to prove to everybody, like, hey, we have a competitive team. Now you guys need to take that and use it and fuel it. And the one quote that I told them was, as we were sitting there at the end of the game, other team dogpiled, holding up the banner for winning, all that kind of stuff. And we're all down there, people are crying, pouting, just because the season's over with, your career's over with. And I stood up, and he was like, all right, seasons, you guys want to talk, blah, blah, blah. And the first thing I told him, I said, I want you guys to look over there. I said, you see how they're celebrating and how they're acting? I said, that should be us, right? I said, but here's the thing, it's not. We didn't do enough to win the game. I said, my focus for you guys next year is that should be you. You need to feel this. You need to take this, put it into your body, put it in your mind, put it in the back of your mind. So whenever you're like, man, I don't want to wake up at 5:30, or yeah, I'm tired. Like think of that. Like think of them dogpiling in front of you. And so I told them that, and after that, like I can't do anything about it. But I hope that me and you, kind of put that feel into people, and
yeah,
kind of put that foundation.
I look at it this way: you kind of can apply it to anything in life. I think that's why you see a lot of athletes that are successful, because anything you do in life, that's a big moment, a big point, a big like kind of focus point, whether it's in your career, something you're doing in your day to day. Maybe you got a big presentation. It all comes back to preparation. So to me, if you're prepared to be prepared, then you're going to be successful. You can't go into an at bat not doing the reps, not getting up for the 5 a.m. workouts. So when push comes to shove, like putting all those hours in, getting up early, getting extra at bats in, getting extra reps, finding ways to get better is going to help you in a sport. And then for work, being prepared, being vigilant, having a game plan, maybe doing a little more effort outside of work. Like that's what it takes to be great. It's really easy to be average. And
yeah,
I think I'm a huge David Goggins guy. It's kind of just some of those like quotes, but it is true. It's easy to be average. A lot of people want to be average. And I just remember my senior year talk to the guys. And that was a weird one because I'd played baseball so long. I didn't really cry when everything ended.
I didn't either. Yeah, I didn't either.
The most choked up I got was probably the last game. We were down. Now we did try to make a late comeback, but it was probably my last ever double. I just remember getting the second and being like, dang, like that was probably on my last at bat. Now my last at bat was a strikeout later in the game. So, whatever. That's how it ended. Yeah. But it is what it is. But good. I just remember when everything was over, it was like probably the best feeling that an athlete could ask for. I was like, kind of felt like on the 7th day, it was like, dang, that was good.
Yeah.
And I remember that talk. It was like, seniors, so you want to talk? Everyone got emotional, chalked up, and when it was my turn, I looked at everyone. I said, honestly, I can't even cry or be upset. I said, we showed up every day, gave it everything you had.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, with this being my last game last season, I couldn't have asked for anything better. And that
Yeah.
same feeling for me is carried into everything I do. It's like I just want that feeling of whether I'm leaving a situation, whether it's work, friendship related, anything I do, it's like I gave it everything I had and no
Yeah.
regrets. I think my dad, I've shown you the book. I don't know if I gave you a copy, but he's got a book called No Regrets.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll get my dad on here sometime. He's got a lot of
Yeah,
good
for sure.
stories about life and
For sure.
leadership. He's got a book. It's a really good book, but it's called No Regrets. And just kind of reading that book put into perspective a lot of like mentality that I've had growing up
Yeah.
about just kind of leaving it all out there and, you know, mistakes
Well,
happen
I
over
mean,
life,
and
but
that's
it's a learning
and
moment. So
I mean that's kind of what you go through into, and it's the same thing for me. I mean, my last game was just kind of the same way as you. Like it was a good last game. Like it honestly, like you said, like your last at bat was a strikeout, but honestly, like you had a good career, you had a good game, you had a good season. Same thing
yeah,
for me. My senior year, I had I wasn't injured, so I got to play the whole year. My last game, I started in the final game in the winner take all game.
Cole was
Went
pitching
six
like
inning.
crazy that weekend. I
I would
remember,
say
yeah,
it
you
was,
were going
dude.
crazy.
It was a weird week because we beat Bluefield in the series. We beat St. Andrews in the series, which we hadn't done. We're on like this, like we had to win like 8 of our last 9 games, and we did. And we make it there, and I'm like, all right, cool. The first game we roll out there in the playoffs, I didn't pitch very good. I gave up like 2 runs in an inning, and we went down and we lost. And I was like, man, this is not a good feeling because it's, you lose 2 games, you're out. All of a sudden, now we got to go through the losers bracket. We win 3 straight games with freshmen pitching, and I'm like, man, these are some guys. Like this is what we've been preaching all year. Like these are some dogs. And we get to that championship day where it's just us versus the other team versus Oakland. We have a freshman started on the mound for that game, and I'm like, all right, and I had full confidence in him. I was like, we have full confidence in you. Like we have 3 guys behind you who haven't even thrown yet who can help you out. Dude, he went like 5 innings. He gave up like 1 run. Like he was fantastic. And I come in there and I pitched 3 innings, scoreless innings. You know, I don't even know how many. I had like 4 strikeouts or something. Like I was doing good. And then all of a sudden, a lightning delay hits, and we're winning the game. And all of a sudden, it's a 2.5-hour delay. And they come into us like, "Hey, obviously, you guys won that game because we played the majority of the game." So now we're sitting there for 2.5 hours, laying down inside, having no idea what's happening. And all of a sudden, Stowers comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, can you start the next game? Just go like an inning or 2, so we can get Tucker warmed up." And I'm like, "Absolutely." I said, "Coach, I'll do whatever I got to do. I don't care if it's a pitch. I don't care what it is." I go out there, and all of a sudden, 6 innings later, I'm still in the game, and I'm like, "All right, like I'm throwing good." I was getting tired. I gave up 2 runs in my last inning. And I just the thing that kind of sat with me. I remember Stowers coming up to me, and he was like, "Hey," he was like, "Great job." He was like, "I appreciate you doing what you had to do for the team, but I'm gonna go ahead and take you out." And in my mind, I'm like, "No, you're not." Like, and I even told him, I
Yeah,
said, "No." He was like, "Listen." And this is something I think about, and I understand what he meant at this point. He was like, "Look, you're over 100 pitches on the day. I need you for next week." I said, "Coach," I said, "it doesn't matter about next week if we don't win this game." I said, "Let me stay out there." And it wasn't because of the fact that I didn't have faith in the people behind me. I was throwing really good and I felt really good. And being a senior, I didn't want that to be the last time I threw. Even though I had a great game, I didn't want that to be the last time. I wanted to like keep going out there. And if we lost the game, I wanted it to be on my terms. I wanted to
yeah,
be out there. I didn't want anybody else to have to take the blame or the fall for it. And so came out the game, we were up 4-2, and we ended up losing the game. And nobody did anything wrong. I'm not trying to put the blame on anybody else, obviously. We just lost the game. We didn't hit anymore. Like just things didn't go our way the rest of that game, which is it's baseball. I mean, doesn't matter. So, but I just remember that feeling afterwards. I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, I was pissed. I was, but then I started thinking about just the way you said, like, I can't be upset. I can't go up there. Like, I had a really fantastic career. Like, I got to do things that people didn't get to. Like, there's not a lot of people who get to play college sports. If you think about it, yes, there's a ton of colleges out there. There's a ton of sports. Yes, a lot of people.
I think,
but if you think about the people in the actual world itself, it's not a lot of people. So getting to do that, and especially getting to pitch the way that I got to pitch in that last game, and end that kind of game of my career, I was super happy. And when my dad walked up to me and gave me a hug, it was like, great career, like great job. Right then and there, I was like, all right, I'm good. Like, I feel good.
yeah,
I feel fine. Like, I'm ready to go.
and I think that's the thing that some athletes never get to leave with, is that feeling of, like, you kind of always have that, well, what if I did this? That's how I left high school. I was like, well, what if I did this differently? And I kind of felt that, like, pain. And I was like, I don't want to feel that when college is over. And now I look back and I'm like, yeah, I can hang my hat on that. I can hang my cleats on that now. I'm going into this wood bat league, so I'm about to create extra pressure for myself. I'm going to differentiate, because college Blake had a really good career. It's time to lock in, time to get going. But yeah, that's a little kind of background. I'm sure over the duration of our podcast, me and Cole will kind of tap into our careers. I know at some point I want to go into, like, funny moments that we kind of experienced.
Yeah, for sure. We got a ton of those.
But I mean, we could just talk baseball all day, all of our experiences, everything we went through. But I do have 2 questions for Cole for trivia. I finally have it. See, Emma's over there. He just gave the look. She's like, "When are you guys gonna be done with your podcast? What the heck? Hang out with me."
Yeah, she did. But
I'm gonna act like, oh, okay, yeah, that was my melatonin talking. All right, Cole. What is banned in public places in Florida after 6 p.m. on a Thursday?
What is banned in public places in Florida after a Thursday?
After 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Is this like a legit answer, or is this just something
This
stupid?
is my trivia. You gonna answer it or no?
Let me see. Let me think. In Florida?
Yep. Don't overthink these.
T-shirts.
Farting. Next one.
Oh, okay.
What can be broken but is never held?
A record.
A promise.
Wait. Dang. I just thought about it. As soon as I said a record, Dang. Okay, that's a good one.
What has keys but can't open locks? This isn't a piano. This is. Oh shit! I said the answer. All right.
Piano.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That is awful. That is awful. Hold up.
Blake's not as good as giving trivia like I am.
I can't talk right now. We're doing the podcast. I'll call you in a bit, bud. All right, see ya.
Who is that?
That's what I'm talking about. Unscripted. Carmen. He's one of my boys here in Pittsburgh. Shout out Carmen. Shout out the boy.
Unscripted.
Yeah, unscripted. This is all real. This is all from the heart. We ain't practicing.
Yeah.
Let me find one more. Not really trivia questions, I guess. These are just kind of fun little phrases with Blake. Let's see. Oh God,
the Blake over.
The Blake
over.
Actually, the Blake over, honestly, like, it turned into KCU, memory podcast.
Hey, unscripted, doesn't matter.
Let me see. Hold up. I
what kind of trivia?
I don't know.
So, what kind of trivia are you looking up?
I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to read.
Why?
Oh, okay. I've got one. This is an actual trivia question.
All right.
This state has more bourbon barrels than people. What state?
Is it Kentucky?
Yeah, you're right. There we go. Welcome to Blake's Trivia. Cole's 1 for 1.
The Bourbon Trail runs through Kentucky.
Hey, there you go.
I'm a bourbon guy. That's how I knew that.
He's a Cincinnati native, Trying to think. What do you want to kind of add to this podcast?
I don't know. I thought the Blake over was actually really good. I thought the unscripted, the whole, most of it is unscripted. Obviously, we have certain talking points sometimes
No,
we like to talk about.
yeah.
But
This ain't a podcast where we're coming in and we got to hit this point, we got to hit that point. No,
no.
we got to
But
have things that keep us in line with
yeah,
what we want to
absolutely.
talk about. We don't want to weave too far. I think if you let me really go unscripted, I could sit here and start talking about a whole bunch of random crap.
I mean, yeah, we could sit here for we could sit here like the Joe Rogan podcast and go for 4 hours if we wanted to.
Honestly, we could.
We might one day. We might do like a 24-hour stream.
24-hour
Imagine
stream.
that. Imagine that. We play like golf all day and then come in and do an actual live show. And
that's what I'm saying. I will say this summer, whenever I come back, me, you, Danny, Noah, a bunch of guys, we just need to go have a scramble, play some golf.
That's all me.
Cooking.
I need to get back on that scramble train and beat you this time.
Did you beat me last time?
No, me and Danny lost to you. You and Noah went crazy.
We did go crazy.
Well, actually, Noah went crazy.
No,
Noah decided.
What do you mean?
Yeah, but I'm saying Noah decided to hit every single shot possible that day, and I'm like, dude, there's nothing I can do about it.
Wait, no. I'm trying to think. The time we went, you and I were on the team, and Noah and Danny whooped us.
I thought you and Noah were on the team.
There was a time where I don't remember who we went with. Did we switch it up? Did we go twice? Because there was a time. No, it was me and.
Oh no, I went with you and Cam and Nate. That's who it was.
Yeah.
That's who it was.
Day.
Yeah.
That day, I think you and I did really well.
Yeah.
But the day I think I went with, it was me and Adam.
I think you're right. I think it was me and you versus Noah and Danny.
Yeah, we got smoked.
Yeah, that's what it was. I thought for some reason it was you and Noah, but yeah, no, you're right.
No, I was having a rough one. I wasn't prepared.
Yeah.
I cost us a lot of shots.
Yeah, it's hard to carry the whole team on your back with the whole bag too. So,
what?
It's hard to carry. I mean, I don't know what I just said, but
he just smack talked me. He just smack talked.
I did. Try.
Nothing beats the. No,
hold on. You about to say the same thing I was gonna say?
Are you gonna talk about the one dude?
I was just telling somebody about that the other day.
Yeah, that guy that we were on the second hole of the day. We had. Hold on.
Can I tell it? Can I tell it real quick?
Yeah, you can tell it.
It was so funny coming from my point of view. So we're at this golf course. This will be the last thing. But
that's funny.
We're at this golf course. I know. We're at this golf course, and it's a walk day because it was raining. And so the course is not super, super long or anything like that. So we played this par 3, and this is the first time Blake had played golf in probably like 5 years. All right. So maybe other than the range. All right. But we get out there, we hit this par 3, we finish. There's 3 like older gentlemen behind us. They're not really anywhere near us. So we get to the next hole, and there's these people standing on the green. It's literally like a 301-yard hole. It's not a very long hole. Now, I've hit a ball 300 yards. I'm not saying I would have hit it 300 yards that day, but like I wasn't going to be rude and rush them and trying to hit the ball up there and rush them out the way. Well, we're standing there on the green waiting, and we have our tees up, we have our balls ready to go and get hit. We're standing there, and the guys are finally walking off the green. We're like, all right, well, this old dude from behind us, he's not super old. He's probably in his 50s or 60s, but all of a sudden, like, he starts talking, and we didn't know he was talking to us at first. And so Blake's standing on the tee getting ready, and I'm like looking at this guy, and he's like, what are y'all doing? He's like, I'll pay you $100 right now if you hit the green. Stop standing there. Y'all are wasting time. Just go ahead and hit the ball. You're not hitting anywhere close to that. And so Blake is standing there. He was like, I'll pay you $100 right now if you hit the green. And Blake goes, nah, it's all good. You keep your $100 for child support. And then he hits the ball, and he smoked it. And he actually hit it really good. I got up there and I hit it, and I was like 2 yards away from the green.
Yeah.
And like I didn't say anything, but when Blake said that, like I died. And that guy did not say another word. And then the funniest thing to me was the next hole was a par 5. We actually I think we both parred it actually. We're on the next hole, and this guy takes like 9 shots to get halfway down the course, and it's right like the holes are like it's like this. They're like coming right up against each other, and I just remember staring at him, and he didn't look at us one bit because I
I
was like,
remember
that comment you definitely got him.
Yeah, he had. I mean, I'm very confrontational. I kind of live for it. Like those moments where someone shows enough weakness to have an issue. First off, we had just started the golf day. Everyone was crammed up.
Yeah, it was like the third hole.
We didn't have. Nobody had enough time to separate. Everyone had to walk. So it's like, yeah, give people a little space. This dude hasn't even got off the tee box yet, and he's already yelling at the next hole. But I love confrontation. I remember it was like later in the day. He had a shot where he completely missed, and I just yelled something out, and he looked at me. So I love confrontation.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and I was the same way during college baseball. Like I would turn around and point at the scoreboard when other teams were talking crap.
All right, I was gonna say this would be the last thing that we say, but I wasn't on this trip because I was injured. But I remember you guys went to St. Andrews, and I guess the catcher was talking like crap to you.
Yeah.
And I remember you hit a home run, and when you got back, you were like, "Yeah, I said something to him." And I don't know specifically what you said, and you can say it, but like when you told me that, I'm like, "Yeah, that's definitely Blake for sure."
Yeah, so I'll keep it like podcast friendly, but this catcher was the most annoying catcher. I thought it was hilarious too, because after that season he was also a senior, and I found on social media a really sad Facebook post, and it was like him all upset, like this was my last year, and I was like, this is hilarious, just because I hated this dude that much. But he was catching, and the catcher he just would not stop talking to the hitters. So whenever I got up, he was just running his mouth. He was like, man, he said, you see my girlfriend out there? He was like talking or whatever. And he just keeps going on and on. And I step out of the box. I called time twice during one at bat to be like, dude, are you kidding me? I was talking to the umpire. I said, you hear this idiot? I used other language, obviously, but got to keep it podcast friendly. And he goes, yeah, man. He's like, you see that girl out there? He's like, you wish. And I was like, man, I said, it's senior weekend. I said, your family here? I stepped out of the box. I said, your family here? I said, it's senior weekend? And he goes, yeah, they're here. Like, he was bantering back and forth with me. I was like, where's your sister at? and he like kind of pointed his head. I was like, dang. I said, sister or girlfriend? And he like made it. He's like, oh, no, that's my sister. I said, oh, so the ugly one's your girlfriend. And then I got back in the box. He was still talking, and that at bat I hit a home run. So like it was kind of sweet. But then he wound up having a really good weekend. But I was all about confrontation. I mean, I almost got ejected. I remember I told one umpire who maybe was a little more heavy set that McDonald's was about 50 yards past right center field. He could go get a burger there. And I remember senior year.
Blake is not a bad person, by the way.
I'm not a bad person. I'm just very competitive, and I like the mental warfare. Do you remember that game? It was Mid-Atlantic, and the pitcher who thought he was hot crap. He was a really good player, actually. I'm surprised he was.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah,
their first baseman, but it was 3-0 with bases loaded. I stepped out and told him to throw a strike and use some choice language, and the umpire called time and threatened to throw me out of the game. He's like, "You can't do that." I was like, "Yes, I can."
Oh,
I don't know. I just got super competitive.
That's terrible.
Oh man, I'm very competitive.
Yeah.
I like to run my mouth, and it's all in good fun.
We know for sure.
Yeah, it's all in good fun. But I'm a great person, great teammate. But I'm definitely one of those guys. I'm definitely one of those guys that you'd rather be on your team, not playing.
Yeah,
me
for
and
Cody,
sure. Oh my lord.
We can get into that to some other time. That's a way deeper conversation. But
oh man,
it was yeah, we will. He'll be on here for sure. But this is the kind of episode we wanted to have and just kind of air some other things out. So we appreciate you guys watching and listening. It kind of went a little bit longer than normal, but this is kind of what we want to have.
We just need to start. I know the American attention span, especially with TikTok, having super short videos. Nobody wants to sit through 40 minutes. Now, I enjoy it. Me and Cole, we're working on getting like snippets of what we talked about. That way you can tune in. I think maybe just because of the digital age now, it's really tough for people to sit through 40-minute podcast on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you are listening start to finish, awesome. If not, I think we can start putting longer clips on TikTok and kind of just start really forcing the podcast through Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok 1-minute video clips. So if you guys have any suggestions, maybe we get a little more interaction of what people want us to talk about. We just kind of spew, you know. But eventually we'll get some guests on here. But it's fun. I do it with the intent me and Cole can catch up every week, kind of relive some of our glory days, you know. It's fun. I miss Cole. I miss being able to hang out every once in a while. So I think it would be cool if you know, whenever I get back in town, we kind of do some type of like series on like TikTok or something where it's like Blake and Cole golf, Blake and Cole do this, you know. So
we can for sure do that. I'm totally down for it. But yeah, to kind of wrap it all up, you know, this episode we had one thing in mind: the spill.
Yeah,
spill everything out of there. Just get it unscripted. Just start talking. And you know, the last thing I'll say before we end it and sign out. If you haven't checked out our TikTok or my TikTok, we have two. So if you go check out Cole Riley or if you go check out the Daily Dribble podcast, you will see
Daily Dribble
a
podcast
video.
Was taken.
Oh, okay, yeah.
2.
You will see a video on there of why we named this episode "The Spill." So I took a little spillage today, but
did that happen this morning?
No, it happened when I got home from practice, from workouts.
That's hilarious.
And you know what the funniest thing too is? I literally saw my dog slip on the same ice, and I took a step and went flying. And I broke my ADT security sign in half when I landed on it. So, yeah, it hurt. But, you know, again, we appreciate you guys watching and listening, and catch us every single week, dropping Saturdays. So that's it for the third episode of the Daily Dribble podcast, and we'll catch you guys next time.